COVID was the worst time that we've ever. It was so difficult. Most people would think, hey, we made a lot of money because people were dying. But it was the other way around.
I was talking earlier to some people with the pressure of a second generation is worse than the first generation. Because the first generation, if it fails, it's fine, you can start again. The second generation, I don't have the choice to fail. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our podcast, brought to you by 21st Century Funeral Services. On this episode, I am honored and excited that I have the founder and director of 21st Century Funerals, Aphiwe Khambule, and we'll cover a whole dynamic from navigating business with family to where 21st started and where he wanted to go next. It's quite exciting stories. Stay tuned, listen, and see where 21st started and what the future entails from the first generation and from the second generation, me, Aphiwe Khambule. My name is Aphiwe Khambule, and I have an honor to have my dad with me today, Mr. Khambule. Welcome, Bab.
Oh, thank you.
Unjani, how are you?
No, feeling good.
Feeling good. How do you feel about being here today?
To me, this is just a new world order to be on the movie.
For once, you're not the one watching the action.
I'm telling you.
You're in front of the action. So the purpose of today and for us to be here, Aphiwe Khambule, is just to give Abantu a bit more insight on who we are, no, to 21st usugapi. I think Abantu abaningi babona mina but abazi uthi you're the real legacy behind the 21st Century Funerals. And it's important for them to hear that side of the story. So maybe if you can take us through why 21st Century Funerals? What was the inspiration behind the legacy that you've created today?
Oh, it's been a long journey. But when this thing started, it was just came out of nowhere because I was still with the bank, and when I left the bank, I went to join the retail, and I was running the region of KZN. That time, it was the furniture industry, which owned all your beds, all those your feddies, and I saw one thing, and which was a big gap. You know, we didn't make money with furniture, but we made money with insurance. And I said, no, man, how do we do this? But because there was no space for us to go to the retail and start this insurance type of business. Unfortunately, a friend of mine lost his wife, and I had to go to that funeral. And I realized, hey, in Johannesburg, they are ahead of us already. There was a company called B3. And that company was totally black-owned. And they were doing these type of funerals where they were selling insurance. Then I decided to hook up with them and find out how do they do this, then they explained it to me. But I started wanting us to make one company, and I would open up under their banner as B3. That, you know, sometimes things don't go right. Business is not as easy as that. And we opened up. Within 6 months, we said, no, we can't work together because I can take money and send it to them when we are working in Durban. Then there comes a new baby called 21st Century. That's when it was created. Not easy. I had to leave my work, and your mom was not sure. when I could do this. You know, when I tell people this story, they think, how could you do this? At that time, it was 1998, my take-home salary was 58,000. I was earning a lot of money to live then. There were very few people who would earn such money. My gross was about 7, and every year I could receive 100,000 bonus. But I said, no. This is not going to sustain me. I would do this for how long? I started recruiting people that would come with me to open this. I got 3 guys. They came in. I was still working, trying to see if it can work, but it just couldn't work. And then I had to leave my work and go full time. That's when Mom was crying
Not
foul,
happy.
saying no. And we waited for the pension. The pension took long. So I was now under a situation where I have to ask her for petrol money. But fortunately for both of us, it came through. And when for a period of a year. But after that, it was fine.
What do you think was the biggest takeaway for you and Duma during that time? What kept you going and not go back to being a salary earner?
Look, at that time, when I was in the retail, because I was looking after a big region, including Swaziland, I was not at home most of the time. So I said to myself, no, I can't go on like this. Because I'm traveling a lot. I'm at home weekend. After that, I'm not at home. I said, no, I'm leaving this. It was good for her that I'm not traveling anymore. But the sad part was, how are we going to make money?
Yeah.
My first policies, in 2 months I sold about 200 policies just to make sure that. But when I looked at the gross of the policies, it only gave us about 10,000 rands, and I said, oh my God, when are we going to make money on this? Remember, we have to pay rent, we have to pay this. And the guys that I had were a little bit, because they were not in the idea, they just wanted to get money, because this is money. Fortunately, as we get along, we started recruiting reps, we started to recruit all this, and within the 3rd year, that's when we started to see that we can make money. Our first 100,000, we reached it in 2001.
So that was your biggest milestone?
That we received. Then I decided, no, let me do corporate. My first biggest company that I looked at was Toyota. And I went to Toyota, I negotiated with the HR, I negotiated with the managers and with the unions, and then they agreed. They had one type of funeral which was on their provident fund. And I looked at it, I said, no, this one I don't want because it's controlled by the unions. I said, no, I want individual policies. Let's stand an agreement where no one will decide for an individual. The individuals must take what they want. And went on until they agreed. That's how we took off. In that company, Toyota, we wrote almost 1,000 policies within 6 months. Then the company started to grow. We started to have, our first branch was in Pinetown, in Days Avenue. That was an extension of our brand. And then we moved, and then we had another one in town. Then I opened another one in Mbangeni. We moved up to Pongolo and we went to Newcastle. But it brought me back to what I was doing, and because I was now starting to travel again. And I said, no, someone must do the traveling. I will look after them. I went on, we made quite a good progress at that time. Business started to show that where are we, and what everybody started to notice. Doves was our main competitor at that time. Afbob was our competitor, and they started to notice us, and they called us in, we joined them. We started doing things together with them. Before what you see today, most of the guys that came up after us, it was, I don't know how to call this, when you look at people selling amakwinya, it was something like that. People started to say, hey, there's man, but they were not compliant. Most of the things they didn't know what to do. And I helped few guys to set up, to start their own and all that, until today where you see what 21st is now. So we had a relationship with the guys in Johannesburg who joined us and another guys. So we were trading in association, not as a group. We would open your own branch and would say, okay, we'll teach you, this is what we have, and people started to have those branches all over the country. The country, we covered it from KZN, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, Northwest. The only part that we didn't do was Eastern Cape and Western Cape. And we had branches all over. But with the modus operandi like what Afpop is doing, we said, okay, we'll keep the insurance part, we'll let the guys to run the funerals. So you could own the funeral parlor and do your funerals, make your money there. If anyone comes and take a policy from your branch, we will do this. You have a percentage on all the policies. And it worked, it worked until some guys decided, no, we want to go on their own. But to make the story not too long, it was a tough call.
Yeah.
It was a tough task.
So what do you think has helped you over the years to keep 21st going? Because if you look, most of them who started with you are no longer here. But you've managed to stay consistent in all the hiccups, the COVID, and all of the changes that are happening in the funeral space. What do you think is it that's helped you?
In business, most of the time is focus. When you know what to do and you have your own targets, you know what you want to achieve. That's what keeps you strong and going. With all those turbulences that you just mentioned, we were getting stronger and stronger with those. Because especially during the COVID was the worst time that we've ever, it was so difficult. And we thought, no, if, most people would think, hey, we made a lot of money because people were dying. But it was the other way around. We lost a lot of money because of high claims that we had. We were paying so much in a week. As a result, the underwriters were under a big spotlight because some ran out of cash, and they said no. Can we, we had some mechanism that we had to work with, but it was tough. It was very tough, and we had to soldier up and make sure that this is where we want to go.
Yeah. What's your proudest moment being a business owner?
Oh, there's so many, but business is not about you being happy. It's about seeing your clients, being happy and saying thank you very much. Because in this type of business, you're dealing with mourners, people that they've lost their loved ones, and it's so unfair when you give a family other problems as an insurance company saying, hey, we're not going to give you this, we're not going to give. When you know that someone has lost his loved one, father, daughter, mother, you want to see them always being happy. When I get a client saying to me, thank you very much, that makes me so happy.
That's beautiful, Khambule. And if you look at the company, the values that you wanted to build and what you wanted it to stand for, has that manifested in the way that you wanted it to? And what were those values? Because I hear you talk about the client central focus, and I support that 100%. I think that's one of the biggest things I've taken away from having you by my side and watching you as a businessman, is that it's not always about profit at the end of the day. If the service is done right and you look after the client, the profit will follow naturally after that. So what other values do you see that are important as a business owner?
Like you say, the main thing in business is don't look at you as business. Because what makes your business is clients. If you can make sure that your clients are happy, find out what more do they want you to provide. Just look for every little things that will make the clients happy. If you can do that, you can win everyone. But in business, sometimes we look at, hey, this will cost me, this will do this will... But you don't realize that if it comes to you facing a situation like that and somebody say to you, okay, we can throw in this, how do you feel? It helps. Most of the things that we give out should have value to the client, that they will always tell others. Because our business, we don't have money to go and advertise in a big way. So whenever you have a chance to do a funeral, make sure that you do your best, because that's your best advert. Out of all people that are there, you can have 10 signing up same time. Or it's not about the bottom line. Obviously, we want the bottom line, but it can only come in when you are sure that you're doing the right thing to the customer.
Okay. No, that's a very, very important point that you've mentioned. I want to now fast forward the history you've told us and where 21st has gone and what 21st has been through, to fast forwarding it now, where now you have kids in the picture and now you are building something for the next generation. When was the pivotal point, Uguti? You know what? I think I'm ready to hand over, or this business needs to be handed over to the next generation.
Before I get into that, I missed something that I should have told you. In the beginning, my first pickup as an undertaker, I was with your mom, and I was scared to lift the body. And, so funny, she helped me to such an extent that when I got into the car to drive, my leg was start shaking. Hey, is it true? Have I picked up a body? And I said, nah. But that was the story of them. Coming back to your question is, I've always wanted to get this forward, and I've always wished that my kids will join me in the future. But you guys decided to study all sorts of different things, and I said, hey, I'll see what happens. Whoever will come in, I'll embrace them. And, it's still open to say, please see it as your own, because it must be a legacy to, even to the grandkids, to everyone. Not only a business that will make us survive now and it's gone tomorrow. We want to keep it like how you look at Doves, like how you look at Afpop has done. They run the business over 100 years. What is difficult in doing that? It will only be difficult when I say, if I pass on, then there's no one who will be able to continue it. Continuity is the most important thing. I have people that I've recruited who will still living. If I go and they still expect the same, that I've promised them that if anything happens to them, this will happen, this will happen. So it's a matter of whoever wants to come in as a family, but must come in with something to put in. A lot that I'm always prepared to share knowledge. I'm always prepared to make sure that you will get it right here, because it's not easy in business. It's not like working in a corporate where you've already, everything has been set up that you do this one does this. It's different. You have to start from the ground to the top and be creative all the time, as the market is very complex out there.
So, having seen the transition and me coming into the picture now, what is something that you wish I can take away, or what is something that you've learned from me as a young, up-and-coming businesswoman? Is there anything you've learned from me? I hope there is. Because I've learned a lot from you, and I'm still learning.
This new world order of AI and all these things that you guys now come out with, it helps. So I was very happy that now I can get into the digital space with things that I didn't know. Things that I said, hey, this is going to waste time. What is this? But I'm glad that you've showed me how it works and how things work. And I know I'm still going to learn a lot, but so far I'm still happy that we are teaching each other and getting somewhere. It's still a long way to go.
Oh, definitely. This is only the beginning. It's only the start. And I think navigating it with the father is a very interesting setup. I think most people always ask me, how do I separate from him being my dad and him being the boss? And I tell them, I make it very clear, outside work, after work, I'm the daughter. It's at home, 8 o'clock to 4. That's the working hours. And I think we've both set up boundaries for ourselves that work to help us be able to navigate that working relationship without affecting our personal relationship as father and child. So where I'm getting with this is to be like, what boundaries have you set up to ensure that, yes, my siblings and I have stepped in to help take 21st to the next level, but without impacting our relationship with you as your children? Because I think at the end of the day, before the business, you're my father and I'm your daughter. So what is it that you think can help us navigate through that?
Look, we must remember what I always liked is that if you go to a corporate sector and learn there and come back home, it gives you the principles of how things work at work. So that has helped me a lot because I'm not teaching you what is it that you are expected at work. All I can give you is knowledge about the industry. And nice that you have realized on your own that outside there in the corporate world, things are working like this. No, it's not easy when you grow up selling guineas at home and then try and take over from whoever, your father, your mom that is running the business. Because you end up not knowing what is expected of you as an employee,
True.
So it helps a lot to go out there, find yourself, and then say, okay, I've learned enough in the corporate. Let me go back home and do what is correct.
And put those skills back into the business.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best things I think I did for myself, and a huge lesson, like how you're saying, that it took me out there, I got to see what people do out there, and then come in and instill it in the business and see what is it that's different that
It
I can
helped
do in
a
the
great
business, big time.
Very, very.
I think it's also been a huge stepping stone for me because the industry in itself is changing quite rapidly. I think you've also can comment on that from when you started and what it is now.
It has. That is why I'm saying you guys came at the right time when our old ways have now been chunked out. It's a new world order now. This is how things work. This is where, all these things of this technology that we have now. I'm sure if we started during our times, it would be far because it can reach the public quicker than what we were doing.
That's actually a very good point. I've never thought about it, how you're putting it now, the impact of digitalization and social media and all of that, that it reaches people much faster. Stepping into the role as well myself and learning the space has also been a very interesting and fun time. I think it has been fun. I've learned a lot from you. But I think what I want to know and to make sure that I make you proud at the end of the day is, how would you see me growing into the role? What type of leader? Or what, if you were right now, would you be like, Aphiwe, I'm out now, I'm stepping out fully, this is what I expect from you. What message would you leave me with?
Look, like I said earlier on, keep the people happy. Make sure that the only way you grow this is all your clients are happy. But the most important thing, you cannot be basing yourself in KZN.
Okay.
You have to make sure that it develops, the country benefits. My wish was always to say, if I can have 1,000 families that will depend on us, that will be a great honor for me to make sure that we can feed over 1,000 families through what we have created. That benefit to the community would make me so proud.
Okay. No, it's good. It's possible. It's doable. It's doable. Hey guys, just for a quick ad break to tell you more about our sponsors, 21st Century Funeral Services. 21st Century Funeral Services have been around for over 26 years. Yes, 26 years in the funeral and insurance space. And did you know now that when you sign up as a policyholder, you get 10% off all SAM Air domestic flights? Whether you're flying to Cape Town for holiday, Joburg to see family, your flight fares are covered with 21st Century Funerals. And when you join now, up until next year, 21 Rand goes towards Women for Change to help them end the fight towards gender-based violence and femicide. Hashtag 21 Rand for her. And then I think just to touch base, as well have I explained, having been in this role has been a lot of lessons. I don't think I've achieved as nearly as what you've achieved, but as the future progresses and as we continue, I definitely do think one day I will make that dream a reality and have 1,000 people on the payroll where we can look after 1,000 families. I think for me as well, it's very important that a business not only just be about profit, but it be about the impact it makes in society and in the economy. The economy relies heavily on businesses and people in business. So if we are no longer there, it does also, that's one of my fears, not being able to provide for families. And it's very important for me to know that we're looking after these families, that I know at the end of the month, we can put food on table for families. I think also growing in this space and coming in as a second generation there's a lot of big shoes to fill, Aphiwe Khambule. I think the pressure is intense because I've been given it's like an egg, and I can't drop the egg. I was talking earlier to some people with the pressure of a second generation is worse than the first generation, because the first generation, if it fails, it's fine, you can start again. The second generation, I don't have the choice to fail. I can't fail because I've taken something that someone's created and brought this vision to life, and I now need to carry it for another 26 years. So I don't have the choice of failing. I have to make it and make it bigger than what you've started it. So the pressure is there, it's intense, but it's motivating. It's encouraging, it's motivating, it's pushing me to want to see how higher can I break the ceiling, how much higher can I push through. Because at the end of the day, like how you spoke about where you and Uma started, it's important that you guys, I'm able to give you a nice retirement plan so you can fully retire and enjoy life, but know the business is in capable hands, and know that the business is in safe hands. So I haven't learned everything yet, but I'm definitely inspired to drive the steering wheel. I think, yes, I'm sitting on the driver's seat, but you're right there next to me, and I think I'm still going to need you for another couple of years. I'm really grateful for the support, and I don't take this blessing lightly. This is a blessing to have your father next to you and to learn and hear the stories instead of hearing it from other people. It's a huge blessing I don't take lightly. I'm very grateful for that. I hope it can inspire others as well to invest in their parents and learn from their parents, because knowledge is power. If you don't learn from the previous generation, you can't take what they've done and make it better for the next generation. So knowledge is very key. Knowledge is very important. It's an interesting ride. I think when we first started, it wasn't easy, navigating through that relationship as business partners and as family. Was a stressful time, but I think we've managed to navigate it quite well. We've come up quite far now, and I'm quite excited to see where it leads us next. All the things we're working on, the support, and knowing I can come to you and not have worry that, you will shut me down and be like, how do you make this mistake? In the beginning, I was scared to be like, if I make a mistake and it costs the business money, what am I going to say? I'm so in trouble. How can I go face him? I can't face him. I've screwed up everything. But you've embraced, like how you said earlier, you've been an open, you've embraced me, and as my other siblings also come in, I think they'll also have that cushion, not just from you, but also from me now as well, to be like, no, mistakes will happen, but what's important is what do you take away from those mistakes. And I think in the most recent ones for me that I've taken away is planning. That's the biggest lesson I've learned in business is plan, plan, plan. Don't rush things. Don't just make a decision now because it looks good. Plan, 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 because everything involves money. And to have the money to plan, what are the goals, what expectation, what's the return on investment? You know, the language I speak now has evolved when I started 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm really, really thankful for that. And I'm excited to see for the more lessons, you know, as the future progresses. So
That's good. That's the way business run. You know, we wouldn't have projections if it's not about planning. Every time, you just don't wake up and say, I'm opening this. No.
yeah,
You
plan.
have to know what is it that you want to be and where you want to be in 2027. I always say, next year is nothing. 2027, you need to have 50,000 new clients. It's possible if you've planned it well in 2026, put your mechanism. By 2027, you'll achieve that. That's the only, because you cannot take money now and say, hey, I'm doing this today. It will never work.
Yeah,
You always regret your decisions.
yeah,
We've seen it. We have scars on those. But the nice thing is they are all mended now because we continued and we learned very hard about it. So you're right. Planning is the way.
yeah.
Nothing more than that.
No, definitely. And what's the best lesson that you've learned as a businessman?
I don't think I was still learning. You know, my background, remember, was more on the accounting side because I was more of figure person. I always wanted to get the figures right, but you cannot say you have learned in business.
Yeah.
You keep on learning all the time. There's no, like now, what you guys are doing, I wouldn't have known about this thing of,
Podcast recording.
no. These are things that we've never thought of. You know, they were not even there. Technology has changed for us. But I have to make sure that I learn that for me to fit in. Otherwise, I will never be able to run.
100%.
So your knowledge of those technologies is helping me to know that businesses have changed. We don't now put money under the mattress. We don't pay cash in the branches. There are ways of which to me I was sure if I count all the rents to a client to say, here's your money, made me feel happy that I've paid. But now it's a press of a button, everything is done. You know?
Times are evolving. Times are changing.
There's a lot that I'll still learn also.
Yeah, and I think it's important to be able to learn from each other. I think in any form of relationship, it's about learning
That's it.
from one another. Because I've learned from you a lot, just how you've also learned from my perspective. So
You know, in business, it's like getting married, you know. From what your mom was and what I was in our early stages, we didn't know each other. And we decided to know each other. We decided to have kids. And where we are today, if she wasn't showing me what she knows, and I wasn't showing her what I know, we wouldn't have had these 36 years of marriage. So it's always learn from each other. Don't be one that knows all the time. No. People will, or even your general worker, don't take them light. If they have a suggestion, listen to it. It helps.
I like that. And I think that's a very important and key, powerful way to close the podcast as well. Learn from each other. Business is like marriage. That's what keeps the machine going, the business going, is, don't walk in there like you know everything. Listen when people bring suggestions. So
it will never work for you.
That's very powerful. I really, really like that. And then just to close off, if I'm not from a business, but from a fatherhood now perspective, for everyone who's listening, not just for myself, what fatherly advice would you share for up-and-coming business people who are running second generation, people who just need to hear something from a father figure?
Well, depending what you want people to know, in business, there is no one way of doing business. And in a family situation, also, you need to have someone who will be very strong to make sure that continuity is maintained. You cannot say, you can't say it's apple to apple in all the businesses. But if the one that is leading, a father or a mother who's running and the second generation is coming in, they have to feel comfortable for handover. And they have to be sure that that person that is coming in is focused. Because what we see in most families, be it white, black, whatever, young generation seems to come in to just draw money and make sure that they have fun, but that makes the business suffer. Or you have to be very, very sure that the person is ready. Then you won't have problems. But other than saying this is the definite way of doing it, there is no definite way. Just for the people, both the elder and the young one, to be sure that they know they are ready for that commitment.
100%. I agree with that. And thank you so much, Bob Khambule, for joining us on the first episode. This has been a very informative episode. I've learned a lot. I hope our viewers as well and listeners have also learned a lot. There's many more exciting episodes coming. And I think it would be interesting to do a part 2 at a later stage, just to look at how much has evolved. Where are we now? Maybe one day we'll have someone else join us as well from the family, just to give people a bit more insight on who we are and where we're heading and what 21st Century Funerals is. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us and for listening on this episode. We look forward to more episodes and to having you watch and see what this story entails.